Hey, thanks for clicking on this link. We sure do appreciate it. This is episode 3 of Womb for Two. Raquel and I had a good time with this episode. I think we're hitting our stride, I hope. So sit back, relax, enjoy. And welcome again to episode number 3 of Womb for Two. I am Raoul.
I am Raquel.
And thanks for joining us on this episode, episode 3. If you made it this far, you're I think you're a glutton for punishment. You want to hear what we have to say. Thank you for coming back. Anybody new here, thank you also for showing up. If you can hit that like button, and if you want to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube, we sure would appreciate it. And if you share this video, it helps the channel grow, and we really would appreciate that. I think I will pepper some other photos throughout this, because I think there's some crazy photos of us growing up through grade school. I think there's a photo of you with ponytails that go off to the side. And there's a photo of me with crazy hair, crazy uncombed hair for like a 6-7-year-old kid. I look like, why did my mother let me out of the house that day?
You probably pitched a fit. You didn't want her to comb it. So you're like, well, I'm going to do it myself. I'm so independent. Let me do it.
But and the cheese on my face is huge. Like, oh man, I look good.
You are living it, probably.
Yeah,
you're probably just like, yes, this is me.
Yeah, living my best life.
Yeah, absolutely you were.
And then, of course, as we got older, we have the senior photo of us in our jean jackets under a bridge, class of 90. That was a fun photo. I like this photo of all of our senior photos.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Well, I think that's the only one we have. I can't even find any of them right now, or know where they are.
I think I have maybe one or two, but I'll put some... I'll put the music bed underneath, and maybe we can just do a little montage of the photos right here. Yeah. But speaking of that high school time, what do you have a fond memory of high school, or what kind of high school student were you? Because I think of you as that student athlete, because I know you ran track, you played tennis there for a while. What do you remember of your high school experience?
Oh my God. High school. Crazy enough, it flies by really fast. Like, you don't even realize the 4 years. You think it's forever. But it flies by very quickly. What do I remember most? I remember my friends, the people I made friends with. And I have been friends with them since we were in kindergarten. Like, yeah, no, you're good.
No, it seems like the closest friends I got were right near our locker, and those were the C's people. So there was a Constantino on one side, a Cardwell on the other. I mean, the people with our same last names, they were very those people we saw every day. It seemed like, because those are the people that were like right next to our locker. I mean, it just seemed like it's obvious you're going to know these people. Even when I didn't go to middle school with them, I got to know them in high school years. But go ahead.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're good. I think that's true, because we went alphabetical when it came to lockers. We were always next to each other anyway, so it didn't make a difference. But I think friendship-wise, I think I made a lot of good friends, long-lasting friendships to this day. Still, I look forward to seeing them or catching up with them. Definitely a positive experience in high school. I don't think I had anything negative. I thought it was good. I don't, yeah, I thought it was all right. I didn't really have a bad.
And you ran track and played tennis.
I ran track. I faked tennis mostly. I just went because a friend of mine was doing it, and I was like, I ain't got nothing else to do, so let's just do that. I mean, that seems to be my attitude about a lot of things. Okay, let's just do it. I don't think I won a single match, but it was eventful. It was fun. I was the first girl, ball girl for football. I would run out there and give them water. I remember that. I remember helping out with wrestling. We were the towel girls. What else? I really wasn't in any clubs. I wasn't like in student council or anything like that. God, I don't think I was in any clubs, honestly. I just played basketball.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I played
Yeah,
basketball.
basketball.
I ran track, played volleyball. I remember I got cut from the volleyball team and the basketball team. Perfectly fine. No big deal. What else? Yeah, it was good. I just made a lot of friends. I didn't have any boyfriends. Yeah, I wasn't the girl to date in high school, which was fine. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Just, yeah, I mean, I don't recall you. I don't recall a lot of, well, talking about dates. I mean, I don't recall our parents letting us out for dates much as high school kids. That wasn't a thing in our house. Mm-hmm. For what I remember, you talked about when you said we weren't in a lot of events or a lot of activities. I got into two of the activities, which was student exchange, even though I was never an exchange student, but but I do remember that, and got into the yearbook staff and newspaper. I think that's where my start of photography began. Was
as a matter of fact, I was in the yearbook. I did one page of the yearbook, a couple of pages in the yearbook. Yeah.
Yearbook staff.
Yeah, yearbook staff.
So yeah, I mean, I think for me that was a creative outlet for me, and I think there was I was a wrestler in high school. I went to state my freshman year and sophomore, junior, and senior year. I didn't make it my sophomore year. I made it my junior and senior year to state finals. But I was a little guy. I was kind of skinny. I was skinny. I was short, skinny. In 6th and 7th grade, I'm the manager for the football team. I just didn't think I was big enough to play with the big boys, or that I just didn't have this growth spurt until like college, where I got, sort of grew into myself a little bit bigger. So for being a little skinny Mexican kid, that physical contact, I'm like, I'm going to get pummeled. So it was something that I never got into. It wasn't until my freshman year where my older brothers, I saw them wrestling, and I thought, well, I guess I can do that. I'm actually competing against someone my own size who's just as thin as I am, who was just, that same size. So that wasn't as intimidating as throwing on a pair of pads and getting hit. But, for sure, it taught you discipline and training and practice, and, that workout regimen and being committed to something. And I think that's what lots of sports does in high school. It teaches you responsibility, time management. I wasn't a great student. I mean, I think I did C's and B's. I wasn't honor roll.
Yeah, C's and B's. Mm-hmm, no.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't honor roll. I mean, there is I enjoyed singing. I was in the choir. I enjoyed that. I tried out for a lot of different plays, but I wasn't in what's the club for theater? I don't even know what the club is. Thespians? I'm not even sure. Thespians? I guess so. I think it's been a while, but those are the things that I sort of gravitated to. Were my interest were music and photography, and I sort of just carried that into my adult life.
I didn't carry nothing into my adult life.
Well, I mean, you ran track in junior college, right?
Well, I did. I ran track in JUCO, but that was a default. I mean, that was just because they needed people, and he knew the coach in college knew that I ran, and they needed an extra person. So I just kind of filled the spot for them. I did not get recruited by any means, but it did help me in the end. It did help me. It benefited me because he was aware of who I was, and he knew my abilities. So that was definitely a plus. But I didn't seek that as my livelihood or something that
sure.
Yeah.
Now in our episode 1, you said you leaned toward getting into the hotel restaurant business. What sort of brought that on? I mean, that sort of seemed not obscure, but I mean, of all the things you could be doing, what leans you toward that area of business? Or
the part that I liked about the hotel industry was that travel. It involved travel, meeting new people, planning people's events, being part of something bigger than yourself. I thought that was kind of cool, to know that you created it or you had some hand in it and hand in either an event or making somebody's day, a great event, a great experience. I kind of like that idea. So that kind of drew me to concierge and hotels and hospitality. And you could literally, there's hotels everywhere, all over the country, the world. And I thought that was kind of a neat industry, and that's never going to go away. So
sure. It's like that in city jobs. The government's never going to shut down. Yeah, the government's never going to shut down, and hotels and what is it? Like grocery stores and funeral homes, they'll always be open,
Correct.
They're never going out of business. Doing a funeral home.
Yeah, exactly. I did get offered a funeral home job once, but I said no, I'm good.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this. When was this?
Yes, I was actually a couple years ago. My coworker, she was an older lady, and she had passed away from cancer. And she had went to the funeral home, and I went to visit and all that other stuff. And it so happens that one of the ladies, one of my neighbors, works at the same funeral home, and her and I got to talking. And I was saying, oh, I was just at that funeral home. It's very nice. I said, she goes, well, if you're interested, you can come by. And if you haven't determined or you haven't settled up what you want to do for your future, burials, I guess you can plan that now in advance. I'd love to sit down and talk to you. And I was thinking, oh, well, you know what? Maybe this is just a sign. I know she just passed away. Maybe I need to start thinking about that in the future. Maybe I'll go over there. So I went over there and I sat down and I was talking to them, and they're like, so, what are your views about funerals and that sort of thing? I'm like, well, I know it's eventually going to end up happening. Like, I know that that's something that's inevitable. I don't want to be in a position to leave my family with something, major decisions in my life, not knowing what they were. So just to verbalize it and say, okay, I want this, this, and this, maybe it'll make it easier, maybe cut and dry. And so we got to talking, and I was just saying some, I guess, enlightful information. And they were like, okay, well, do you want to sign up for, you can buy a plot now? Or, it was kind of like a sales pitch.
Sorry, end of life planning.
Yes, end of life. There you go. And I was like, well, I'm not really ready for that right now. Like, I don't know. It's a little bigger investment that I was willing to. I was just generally going to come and get information. I just wanted to hear it out. But if you're willing to give me the packet, I'll go home and discuss with my husband and see if that's something we want to do. And if it's, if it's cremation or if it's a burial, I really like to sit down and talk to him about it. And they're like, okay, yeah, no problem. And so I left. And I was thinking, well, that was really interesting. I didn't know this information, and you can actually plan it in advance and all that other stuff. So I came home to talk to my husband, and then 2 days later, I get a call from the guy who I was talking to, not my neighbor, but the gentleman she was training with. And he had said, Mrs. Dietz, if you have a moment, I'd like to speak to you, and you like to come in. I'm like, well, I'm not really deciding. He goes, no, this is completely separate. And I'm thinking, what the heck why is he calling me? So he goes, I'd like to meet with you. So I'm like, okay. So I went over there and I sat down and met with him, and he goes, well, this is nothing to do with, there's nothing to do with your planning your funeral. I'd like to offer you a job as a as a consultant, a funeral consultant.
Funeral planner?
Well, this is kind of out of the blue. And I'm like, well, where did this come from? He goes, I like the way you articulated yourself, and you seem very knowledgeable. And I just wanted to tell you that I noticed it. And if you didn't already have a job, I would be more than happy to provide you a job. We would provide you training. You would get discounts. I was like, get discounts? He was like, yeah, like you can get buried anywhere. And I'm like, what the heck? I was like, okay, that was very nice, but I don't know that I want to go down that path. Like, I don't know if that was really my calling, but thank you. But I think I'm going to wait. And I was like, no, we're good. But he wanted me to come work for him and be a funeral planner.
Well, if there's anybody that can
Did
put
you
the
see
fun
me
in
a funeral
funeral,
planner? Yeah, right.
if there's anybody that can put the fun in funeral, it's you.
It's me. Fire! Let's do it.